ESPN's Ramona Shelburne yesterday posting an article on the end, really, of the Harden-Morey era. It was titled Paintings, Silence, and History. The final straw of the James Harden-Daryl Morey era. I have pulled some of the most intriguing, interesting sort of parts from Ramona's article that I wanted to throw at you and we could dissect. So first one, according to league sources, Harden and his camp became convinced Morey only intended to offer him a 2-year deal with a team option on the second season if he declined his $35.6 million player option and became a free agent at the end of June, essentially turning Harden into a year-to-year player. I start with this one, Trey, because we have been trying to figure out what did it? What really pissed James off? And Ramona's sources say it was this type of deal that they wanted to offer James that probably upset him after he had taken a pay cut to sort of help out the team the year prior. Thoughts?
Hey, it's always the money.
It's always the money.
Ain't no surprise here. James Harden is 34. He doesn't want to be negotiating a contract every single season. He wants to lock in some big money. And honestly, if I'm James Harden and I think about the way things went with Philadelphia, I signed a deal where I had a player option for the second year. Everybody said for that second year, just come back, just play for them, ball out, have a great season, you'll get a max deal. He's probably thinking, that's what I just did.
Right.
I just signed a 1-and-1 contract, led the league in assists, 2 40-point games in the playoffs.
Some stinkers.
Don't mention that, but still, he did play pretty well last season.
Yes.
And was on the outside of the All-Star conversation, could have easily made it. I suppose you could have made a case for him for All-NBA as well. What I'm saying is James Harden had a pretty good year last year. Helped Embiid win the MVP, something that's important to him, something that's important to the 76ers franchise, I would have to believe. So to have to try and run it back of doing this every year, trying your best every year, that wasn't going to cut it for James Harden. And I kind of agree with him a little bit from that standpoint where he's like, everybody's saying, I just did that. That's
right.
Exactly what I was supposed to be saying. But also, I can't imagine a team wanting to give James Harden a 4 or 5 year contract at this stage of his career.
Right. It is, I think that fascinating part of that little graph there is that, we will have the team option.
Exactly.
We will have the,
exactly.
Pull the parachute, right, in case of
it's
emergency.
Going poorly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that pissed James off, apparently. All right, next part here. This is when sort of Harden was trying to get back with the team here recently before the trade to the Clippers. Quote, the Sixers asked Harden to do his training back at their facility in Camden, New Jersey, rather than accompany the team to Milwaukee for its regular season opener. When he later showed up at the airport for a team flight, security informed him he was not on the manifest. That inflamed the situation on both sides, sources said, and became what one source described as a final straw in the team's efforts to reincorporate Harden. The final straw is the manifest.
The manifest.
James Harden's name, not on it.
Hard guy to identify too.
How embarrassing that must have been for James Harden to show up at the private airport.
My bags are ready.
Exactly.
I got my shoes.
The guys are right there.
I got my giant pants.
I could see them through the window. I could see PJ in the window. And they said, James, you're not on the list, man. I think it's illegal to allow you on this plane. I don't know how serious they take that manifest. I think they take it quite seriously.
I don't know the regulations, Skeets, but it's not like Markieff Morris showing up to the tarmac and they're being like, sorry, we only got Marcus on. You're not the same guy, but are you? You can tell who James Harden is. I think they could have squeezed him on if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But from his perspective, surely he's saying, oh, they don't want me around, which he didn't want to be around. So he's kind of forcing their hand here. As we saw when he didn't play in Game 1, it instantly launched an investigation by the league. So, I don't know, the Sixers, from all the reporting, it sounds like the Sixers are trying to really toe the line on stuff, right? They weren't going to talk to Harden before he was able to sign a deal because they didn't want to get dinged for tampering again.
Right.
They don't want to get in trouble for resting a healthy player with the new PPP. So they're using a lot of rules and regulations to kind of keep him away from the team too. And he's saying, I'm trying to play here. Yeah. But also the Sixers are like, things have not gone poorly yet. But what happens if you step on the court of a real game? Are you just going to completely dog your way out of here? Which is I'm sure what the worry was.
Right. Or injure yourself, and then we got, we have quote-unquote damaged goods. Yeah, so I guess you could see why that was the final straw there, showing up to the airplane. As somebody said in the stream team, he sees PJ on the PJ, and they're saying, no, sorry, Mr. Harden. And this is a guy that's used to showing up to, like, I assume clubs, and his name is on the list.
Yeah.
Or not, and he's still allowed in. Oh, James Harden's here. All right. Ladies, let's go. Big night here. But yeah, he's like turned away. Whew.
Nobody wants to go to the airport if they don't have to.
Oh my God, no. Yeah, I don't care if it's like an incredible just pull up with your own driver. Still, you had to go out of your way to get there. Okay, next piece here. This is an interesting what if from again Ramona Shelburne's article. Quote, when disgruntled point guard Ben Simmons asked to be traded in the summer of 2021, Morey honed in on Harden as the trade target to play alongside Embiid. Obviously, what ends up happening. Prioritizing him over players like Bradley Beal or De'Aaron Fox, league sources say. I pulled this because it is a fun what if, that if Morey had targeted a Beal or a Fox instead of ultimately going with James Harden. What do you think?
It's definitely interesting. I don't know. How does it make them? Are they better or worse with either of those guys? I don't know.
I know.
Harden was such a good playmaker for Embiid. The pick and roll between those two was one of the most efficient plays in the entire league last season. And like I mentioned earlier, it helped get Embiid to his first MVP, which is something he had been gunning for the past couple of seasons. I also remember around this time that Tyrese Halliburton was a name who was in the mix for the 76ers, and that one is like a big-time what-if to me, considering he's so much younger than Embiid as well, and obviously a great setup man. I don't know. Who would I want to have between James Harden, Beal, and De'Aaron Fox? I'm probably going Harden.
Wow.
Yeah.
For like just right now, 1 year, win a championship, or obviously moving forward, Fox the youngest of the bunch.
It would be between Fox and Harden for me.
And still with the pointing out, I guess Bradley Beal did get injured, during that season too. I don't know like the timing of it all and how that all lines up, but I just thought it was interesting. It's a big what if Harden is never the trade target and it's another talented guard, and how it works alongside Maxey, along with Embiid.
You wouldn't need Fox and Maxey together, I don't think.
No,
they're kind of similar players.
I do agree with that. Yeah, I think Beal to me is the one that's like, oh, okay, that would have been.
What's he ever done, man?
I know. All right, next one here. Quote, this is from Morey.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah. James changed my life, Morey says. He's one of the all-time greats. As time goes on, people will think about him in much more historic terms. What he did to change the game and change the NBA will get recognized more as the Twitterverse and the people who don't understand how good he is fade away. The Harden legacy, the nuanced legacy of James Harden. I just, we know how Morey feels. Do you think he's right? Do you think there's truth to this, or is the opposite actually going to be the case? And, the guy's a top 75 player of all time. Will people be like, what? Him? Really? Well, I know we're looking ahead, projecting, but what do you think?
Nuanced is the right word. Yeah. And I actually do think Daryl Morey is right when James Harden is finally retired and all we see are his highlight clips and look at his basketball reference page for his statistics. You're going to be like, this guy averaged 36 points a game for an entire season? Mm-hmm. That's incredible. Right. He was like that. There was that 1 month where it was like 40 and 50 every single night. He got close to winning the MVP a couple of times. He won the MVP. They were the closest to taking down the Warriors. They had the Warriors almost beat when the Warriors were at their absolute peak with Kevin Durant. Like, James Harden has fallen short so many times that it's kind of impossible to think of him as an all-time great player right now when we're seeing the way the end of his career is going. We obviously know that he doesn't have a ring on his finger. If he gets a ring, that probably changes things. Zach Lowe calls him the Karl Malone of guards.
It's so good.
It's good.
It's pretty good.
It's good, but I don't know. I feel like another player that you could consider Harden similar to is Carmelo Anthony, who had a lot of individual success, not quite to the level of Harden, but was a scorer, and he's getting a lot of more respect since he's been retired for a couple of seasons now. I think the same will go for Harden because the counting stats are just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a good point. When he's removed from the game and you are just firing up the basketball reference and you're just looking at the highlights, which are pretty incredible, obviously, especially assists, you're going to be like, it's going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
And he's helped out in the idea of like the offensive revolution too, of the idea of just shooting a ton of threes and obviously pace and all that, and even going small that he played a part in when he was with Houston. So yeah, I get it. But man, does this guy, well, a lot of those guys on the Clippers now, Westbrook, Harden, Paul George, Kawhi's already got a couple, but if they were to get a ring, and I don't think it's going to happen, not with the Clips, man, it really does. Like, it bumps them up in a lot of people's all-time rankings. Like, they jump a lot of people. Wherever you have them, they probably jump some other people. So, yeah, I just thought that was fun. We know how Morey feels. This guy's got paintings of James Harden all in his house. Didn't pull that part. That was like the real lead of the story.
Yeah, I was actually happy to see the painting because we'd heard about them.
Yeah.
You know he's got a painting, but you actually can get a look at it if you read Ramona's article.
That's fairly nice. I guess he's got an Embiid one too.
Yeah, he's got an Embiid one.
Yeah.
Would you ever have a painting like that in your house?
Of you? Because you have a beard. You actually have a very similar side profile to James Harden.
That's absolutely true.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that before. A lot of people call me the white James Harden or the gray James Harden, depending. I thought you would have to get like a Kyle Lowry painting.
Oh,
you got to get your favorite player.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be either Lowry, Steve Nash, Hakeem Olajuwon, or Nick Van Exel. And it would probably be, I know that's a weird list. Yeah, it'd be Lowry with the LOB probably.
Yeah.
Or Nash because of Canadian roots. Yeah. Who would you go with?
Oh, Michael Jordan holding the two balls out. Wings.
You just buy the poster.
Yeah, and then paint it. Paint over it. I did that.
I did that. I came up with that. All right, final piece here. It's a wild card. After initially pairing Harden with Dwight Howard in Houston, Morey had pivoted to a small ball strategy, Morey ball as it became known, with an extreme focus on threes and free throws and a complete abandonment of the mid-range with Harden as its centerpiece. It was wildly successful. A smash hit in an actual musical Morey produced called Small Ball, where one of the songs is entitled We Were Small, Pass Me the Ball. I butchered reading that, but Ramona out of nowhere tacks on this idea that Morey was involved and produced a musical called Small Ball that was, somehow based around Morey Ball and the Harden Rockets. I'd forgotten about that this was a musical in 2018.
This I did remember.
Wow.
Morey is like a huge Broadway fan.
Yeah.
I remember it must have been at All-Star in Houston. That's the only thing that makes sense. We ran into him. I think I was with Lee at the time. We ran into him in the concourses, and he was just walking around with Daveed Diggs, the guy who became Lafayette from Hamilton. They're just like, I'm a producer. He's one of the greatest Broadway stars. Hey, meet each other. And then he was like showing up in those NBA commercials and stuff. So
interesting.
Daryl, true to the game when it comes to Broadway.
Shea Serrano has reviewed this musical. I found the article, and Shea wrote, Small Ball is a great deal of fun, and also surprisingly funny, and also at times surprisingly tender, which is remarkable given how weird the show actually ends up being. There are 16 total songs. First 12 occur in the first act, 4 coming in the second. I like the breakdown there from Shea. I watched a clip on it. Not for me. I'm not a musical man, but it is intriguing that there is a small ball musical that Morey produced that I guess it only aired or was on the stage in Houston for a small window. Yeah.
Is there like a Lakers Celtics musical or something like that too?
There might be. I know people within this small ball Morey show were the main person I guess is called Michael Jordan, but it's not that Michael Jordan. I guess that's the running.
Is it the other Michael Jordan?
No, not Michael B. Jordan. No, Michael C. Jordan. And there's a Pippin, and there's a Bird, and there's a Magic. I'm serious, man. I went down a rabbit hole reading about the small ball musical.
Give me the music, man.
So I like that. I like that Ramona just slipped this in here.
FYI.
We Were Small, Pass Me the Ball is a jam from this.
Okay. Cool. I wonder if it's available on Spotify or Apple Music.
I'm not sure. Anyway, highly recommend the article from Ramona. A lot of fun breaking down the end of the Morey Harden era. Any final thoughts on these two once lovebirds going through a messy divorce?
It ain't over till it's over, Skates.
Wow.
I saw at the very end. Daryl Morey says, I'm not getting rid of that painting. It's one of my prized possessions. It will hang on my wall for the rest of my days.
Okay. That's nice.
Well, time passed, man. Time may pass. We'll think of James Harden as one of the all-time greats, and maybe they'll be buddies again.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
It'd be nice.
That'd be great.
Get over it.